We start off with housing news. One Bronx housing complex and its 1,500 units face a serious crisis over line repairs and a gas shutdown. Our Bronx.net reporter Chanel Thompson has more details.
More than half the units at Van Cortland's Village amalgamated houses may have their gas shut off July 1st if the co-op doesn't repair its gas lines. The cost to fix is about $150 million, and management has warned residents since February 17th. I spoke to General Manager Charles Zabedex, who wanted to tell us what's really happening.
This harkens back to 2017 when I became aware that City Council was considering Local Law 152 and amending it to include inspections of all buildings. At that point, I made our supervising agency, New York State Homes and Community Renewal, aware that this problem is pervasive for all buildings in New York City, including the amalgamated, and that it should be their responsibility to ensure that all affordable housing co-ops within their portfolio were prepared with money from refinancing to address any potential shutdown.
The cost is hard to fathom for nearly 1,500 amalgamated residents. Amalgamated is the nation's oldest limited equity co-op and a monument to housing affordability. Members must meet income restriction guidelines set by the State Affordable Housing Agency, New York State Homes and Community Renewal, which oversees a range of public subsidies that help maintain the affordability of limited equity co-ops. I spoke to two local residents and members of Amalgamated Cooperatives United, Michelle Hennessy and Carol Foresta, who tells us how this is affecting the community.
What's going on today is we came together, a bunch of cooperators here that live at the Amalgamated, and we formed the Amalgamateds Cooperative United, and we put out the alarm, basically, to let our residents and neighbors know what's happening and the community at large. Our expectation is that people are going to get involved because this is a very unique and beautiful community that's been in existence for almost 100 years. And in order for it to continue, we need all hands on deck.
We just found out that on July 1st, our gas is going to be shut off. How are we going to cook? How are the young families that live here going to be able to feed their children? We don't have the capacity to turn our gas ovens and stoves into electric ones because our infrastructure is very old. People don't have to be rich or very wealthy or have a lot of money in the bank in order to move in here.
For more information on how you can help or sign their petition, you can visit the Facebook website at Amalgamated Housing Cooperative, or you can visit the other website at change.org, Save Amalgamated Community in the Bronx. Reporting for Bronx.net, Chanel Thompson.
And thank you, Chanel. In other news, the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute launched a film photography exhibition highlighting the evolution of black music in New York City. Our Bronx.net reporter, Kyrie Moody, has a story.
In honor and celebration of the 50th year anniversary of hip-hop, the CCC-ADI launches a film photography exhibition highlighting the evolution of black music in New York City from the 1970s to the 2000s. There were two artists whose work was showcased in the exhibit, Joe Conzo Jr. and Malik Yusuf Kumbo.
Tonight's images are basically from a moment in time. Photographs of mostly music artists that were during the era of, like, I don't know, from the late 80s to the early 2000s. And these are images of people who I felt that has made some type of integral part of the change of music.
CCC-ADI stands for Caribbean Cultural Center of African Diaspora Institute. Melody Campote has been with the center for 40 years and is the executive director. She tells us about the center and its mission.
The center is a 47-year-old organization that has been committed to doing work that really advances and advocates for African descendants on racial and social justice and equity. We are an organization that looks at the common thread we share as people of African descent. So wherever the enslavement happened, wherever our people were taken, wherever our people arrived, we look at the common thread we share, and which is really the root culture in Africa.
Director of Programs Sabine Blazin gives us how she comes up with such impactful events here at the center.
The first word that comes to mind is spirit. I just definitely have to feel an ancestral calling, making sure that we are doing due justice to the beauty, the livelihood of the past, the present, and the future of the African diaspora, and all the gifts and the arts and culture that we bring to this world.
Joe Conzo Jr. couldn't be in attendance for the show, but his art was there and inspired us all. To learn more about the CCC-ADI and its future events, visit cccadi.org/events. For BronxNet, this is Kyrie Moody.
And thank you, Kyrie. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. That is it. We're going to take a quick break, but we do have more open when we return right after this.